My name is Sean Wilkinson, and I'm the founder, CEO, and CTO of Storj Labs. And what we're trying to do is be the largest cloud storage provider without owning a single server. And so let me tell you a little story about how I got here. It started my senior year of undergrad. I was working on a data project. I was analyzing this data. It was quite a lot of data, and I want to share this data and make it publicly accessible. So I went to the standard cloud storage providers that were out there, and I wanted to use their service, and I went, wait a minute, this is really expensive. I'm a broke college student. I can't afford, all this. And something didn't really sit right with those numbers. So I crunched some numbers for myself and found that, hey, it cost me 10 times more to store my data on that service than it would for me to just do this on my own hard drive. So it got me thinking, okay, I have some extra storage space. My friend has some extra storage space. My neighbor probably has some extra storage space. If I could take advantage of that, maybe I could be able to do cloud storage at a much cheaper price and get some features and benefits out of that. And that really got me thinking is wait a minute, these cloud storage providers are selling ocean water at this point. This is a resource that everyone has available. Just raise your hand if you have some free extra hard drive space on your computer right now. Okay, that's, most of you. And so if we can take advantage of these resources, we can get a lot of benefits out of that. So I went down this path of, okay, how do we build this? How do we make this secure? And I started an open source project, raised about $500,000 in 30 days via crowdfunding, and went down the way of how you could accomplish this technically. And it's broken down into four main parts. First, you take this data and you break it up into itty-bitty bits. Then you encrypt that data with keys only the user who's uploading that data has access to. Then you spread that data out over multiple PCs and have redundant copies. And then you constantly audit that data, make sure it's there, available, and if we need to replace one of the copies that's gone down. And so we take advantage of a lot of cool technologies like Bitcoin and blockchain. These people are selling their hard drive space to us, and we're paying them in small amounts of Bitcoin, because if you want to share a gigabyte with me, I'm not going to be able to send you an ACH transfer for a tenth of a cent. So I went down this path and said, okay, we have this really cool, great technology, but it's got some really complicated math and crypto on the back end. So I started a for-profit company to make this easy to use so that people who want to use this platform can just push in data, get data out, and they don't have to worry about the back end and the auditing and all the math. It's just a simple service. And so we went down the road of, okay, now we have this really capable network. What can we do with it? And so it's our belief that data should not be stored and delivered from a data center. Rather, you can take this data and it can be served from any device. I can share the latest video from my phone rather than a data center 3 states away. And so it ends up, you get a lot of features, benefits, privacy, security, speed. And you're eliminating kind of that central bottleneck. You have this one server cluster, one data center that's serving these customers. At peak times, it might be getting overloaded. But also on the data security side, you're introducing a central point where that data can be breached, be hacked. You have this giant fortress with all this important sensitive data, and the hackers are just going, okay, let me just find my way into this data here. This needs to be one little crack, and they have access to the data. Versus on a more distributed system, it's more efficient, and it's more spread out. So think of kind of our security model as you have encrypted grains of sand that you spread amongst a beach. Good luck finding it. So it's again, a much more efficient model, but also a lot more secure model. So we really want to take this concept forward, is that you have the end consumer, the end users that have all this unused extra hard drive space. And then you have you guys, the cable providers, who have these pipes, And you combine those two, and you get an exabyte scale cloud. And the amount of storage and resources that is just sitting around, not being utilized, there's a massive opportunity there. So we kind of see a future where perhaps the cable providers are working more directly with the end user to utilize this resource. You think of typically the process with a customer or a subscriber is that the cable company is providing a service to the customer, right? But how if you could flip that model a little bit where the subscriber, the customer, actually has some resources that they can give back to the cable provider. And so that really changes, you know, the perception and the dealings with the customer is that, you know, it's not just one way anymore. It can be bidirectional. And how you want to incentivize that or monetize that is between you and the customer, right? So perhaps they could get a direct check for that storage. Perhaps that could just be taken off their bill, or perhaps, you know, the resources they provide, they can earn credits for on-demand content. So there's many ways that you can play with incentivization that you have that, now that you have that feature. And so I see a really interesting, you know, future. You know, I'm an outsider looking in. You know, I might be crazy, but I think it would be really cool to shake up the economic model a little bit, where you could have a customer, instead of, you know, them paying $50 a month, they're providing some resource that, you know, worth $25, and they could cut their bill in half. Or you could have someone who has a crazy amount of storage, and they could actually be getting paid by the provider instead of the other way around. And the provider is making, you know, 2-3 times more than they normally would be from that subscriber, because that subscriber has resources that could be used. So again, we see content being served from these residential homes, and there's some issues there, and people think that, hey, this uses peer-to-peer technology, this is going to clog up all my pipes. But if there's a really cool statistic out there that of the data that we store in the cloud, 70% of it we never access again. So you can use the system to say, okay, let me store this data on these end devices, a lot cheaper, a lot faster, a lot more secure, and you really don't have to transit that data, you know, back and forth. So I encourage you to visit our website, storj.io. Our email is right there. And a bit of homework for you. We have an application right now called DriveShare, which you can download on your computer. It takes 5 minutes to set up, and you can share your hard drive space with us and earn money. So I encourage you to check that out. And if you have any questions, I'm wearing a giant blue shirt. So just come find me, and I'll answer any questions you have. Thank you.